I do my best.
You're literally the only person who's ever done anything nice for us, so
Yeah.
I feel very honored.
It's probably because I have, you know.
You don't have any, you may have, I don't know.
Well, I can call people.
I have.
She knows people.
Here's how long I've known her. It was one of the first writing dates I ever had when I signed at EMI. It was with Luke. Mm-hmm. It was Murrah Music. And that was, what, 2002, 3?
2 or 3. I started in 2.
Holy shit.
You were with Murrah?
No.
I was.
I
know you were.
Was Luke with Murrah too?
He was, yeah.
Okay. And
Okay, I'm pausing just for a second.
okay,
Yeah.
you do whatever you need to.
These are not working with.
You gonna fight somebody?
Oh, the earrings are coming off. Here we go.
Girl.
It's about
These
to get
are not working with
real
the
up in here.
I know you didn't. Why did I didn't?
I would have been doing. They were weighing me down the whole time.
I haven't seen you since. Did we go to New Year's Eve together? What was that? Yeah, at Cutler's.
Oh, yeah. We did. That was.
I don't know. I don't know time anymore.
COVID brain.
COVID brain.
I was about to say, was it that year or maybe 21?
It was like 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
We watched fireworks from
We did.
the balcony
We ate dinner at the Four Seasons.
because we're fancy.
Oh,
Yeah.
one of those kind of
Yeah.
parties.
This was when I was working with Jay and on his gratis beer.
Oh, the beer thing.
yeah. I don't know if it's a thing anymore. It was fun. I had fun.
I found my gratis beer shirt the other day in the closet.
Yeah, a lot of people had. I gave out a lot
The
of stuff.
gratis beer was good.
It was good. It was good. It was fun. I'm fine.
It was doing really good till you got involved, and then for some reason it just.
No. I made it great. Welcome to Twangtown. I am David Tolliver.
And I'm Colt Mursky.
Oh, Brewski.
And today we have with us Kerri Edwards. So
Y'all
excited
are
to be
so
here.
fancy.
We're pretty fancy.
Well, that's as fancy as it gets. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Okay, good to
We're
know.
saving up
Good to
for
know.
like a Polaroid camera right now.
We have 4 bells and whistles.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
How are you, long friend? We were just talking about
Is
it.
that a statement on my tallness or my legs, my feet, my ears? You know your ears keep growing.
Socks.
Yeah. Socks. I have long socks. Bombas. Bombas socks.
Are you a Bombas sock?
I am. I'm a Bombas sock. And just because they're the absolute most comfortable socks.
That's
in
so
the world.
weird you said that because I'm actually wearing a pair of Bombas socks today that I got from the CSAC Awards.
Dude, they're amazing.
With your boots? Tall? Are
Well,
they
they're
tall?
long.
Oh, okay, got it.
They
Yeah,
come up
there's
here.
long and short Bombas. I have ski socks, Bombas. That's all I wear. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they give a pair away to someone who needs socks.
Yeah.
That's less fortunate, which is a great thing.
It is a good thing.
We all need socks.
Yeah. Duluth Trading Underwear. I'm sharing a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a creature of habit. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'll shut up now. Hey, how long have you been in town?
Moved to town, I guess. I mean, these are the numbers that make you go, wow.
Numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I moved to town in 89 for school.
Really?
For school.
Where'd you go?
Lipscomb.
Oh.
Went to college at Lipscomb and then got an internship my senior year. I think it was, the senior year at Arista Records.
Wow.
And did not have one clue what I had signed up for.
So you were there in the early 90s when things were rocking.
It was so
Was
much
that
I bet that was so
fun.
much fun.
It was so
Was that
much
the
fun.
Tim Dubois era?
I've heard so many stories about Arista in the early mid 90s, and it's like, oh wow, what a fun time to have been in the music business, especially in that part of radio promotion and all that.
It was really fun.
Were you doing radio promotion or A&R?
Well, I interned for radio,
Right.
but I truly promise you guys, I had no idea. Like I met someone who ended up working there by happenstance in Charleston, West Virginia, where I'm from.
I did not know you're from West Virginia.
Yes.
I'm sure we've talked
I'm a
about
mountain
this.
mama.
You and my wife, Mountain Mamas.
song.
It's epic. Do
the
not.
anthem.
Do
It's the
not.
anthem.
You were born in West Virginia.
I was.
What
yeah.
what part of West Virginia?
Near Charleston.
Near Charleston.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm right over there near you in East Kentucky. So
Yes.
not Western Virginia, West Virginia.
Yes,
Colt.
West Virginia is its own state.
Yeah,
Is.
A lot of people don't
For
know
those who
that.
get
It's really
confused,
weird.
yes.
one of the big
Yeah.
50 actually.
It is.
Yeah.
It really
Yes.
is.
One
Yeah.
of 50. Yes.
Yeah, John Denver didn't live there. I don't think.
He did not.
No, for some reason that songs
But
they use.
He
I don't
lives, He lives on there though.
know. He lived.
Yeah. And he's made a lot of money from that song.
Daily.
Yes.
So born around Charleston.
Yes. Alum Creek is my hometown.
Alum. You just got country when you said that.
Alum, because I have to
Alum
pronounce
Creek.
it correctly. It's hard to hear. Alum, ALUM, Alum
Yeah.
Creek. West
Alum
Virginia.
Creek.
Is that like salt?
It's
Alum? No, what is that? I remember seeing it in cartoons.
I really, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's good
That's
that you know
actually
about your
something-
hometown.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. It's probably something I should check out.
We'll Google that
We
later.
need to Google
Yeah.
that. We need
And how
to
long
do
were
that.
you there in Alum?
Oh, like I guess to 17 years
17, and then you moved.
to Nashville.
Oh, did you do anything music related growing up?
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
So listen to it and go to concerts
Yeah.
and obsess over it.
Pull the
but
mic up
other-
on you a little bit. There you go. So,
Is that better?
yes,
totally-
how did you get from Alum Creek to Nashville, Tennessee? That's especially in '89. Like I'm sure, like
Like there weren't any real roads back then.
yeah.
Wow.
So old.
How'd you get down off
So
the
long
hauler?
ago.
I ended up going to college, so in Nashville. But the story goes that my parents, which everyone says your story is the opposite of most parents, but my parents came to me and said, you can go to school wherever you want, but if it's in the state, we will not help you pay for it. If it's
In state?
correct.
Oh,
The
I've
opposite of,
never heard that
yeah.
ever.
So they were like, "Get out!"
Yes.
Wow.
And they
Oh.
weren't being mean about it. They were just like, we really want you to go.
You know, I appreciate that because I've told, like, I have one daughter going to Union and playing volleyball, and the other one told her, "Get out of the state, go somewhere and experience life, do something else, get out of this little bubble that we in Franklin and in Nashville. Go out of state to school. I don't know." Go see something. I think she wants to go to Belmont, but
That's
it's
not
fine.
out of state.
It's really not. It's right in the middle of the state, actually. But I think
That's truly
that's
what
actually
happened.
that's actually cool.
But I was devastated.
You know,
Where you wanted to stay?
Oh, yeah.
Did you want to go to WVU?
I kind of wanted
Marshall?
to go to Marshall.
Marshall? Oh, you're a Marshall girl.
the Thundering Herd.
It was just probably because it was even closer than WVU from where I was from.
Well, we have friends back home.
Yes, yes.
Small towns.
It was probably an hour from where I grew up.
Okay. Yeah.
Marshall was.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was kind of like, oh, go there.
Yeah,
But that, honestly, it still felt like it was kind of far away
yeah.
at that time. But,
Sure.
but I didn't really know what to do. So I had some family. We'd come to Nashville because I had aunts and uncles that ended up here, actually.
Okay. So you had some
And,
ties.
So we would come here like once a year, maybe twice a year. And so that was just kind of all I knew. I was like, okay, I guess I'll pick a school there. So that's kind of what happened. But I cried from the minute I pulled out of our driveway until we got here.
Did you really?
6.5 hours. I
Wow.
sobbed in the backseat of that car.
Wow.
Did they took you? I'm assuming they drove you down
They
here.
drove me down.
They weren't like, "Get out, here's the keys."
No, they drove me down.
We're
And
throwing a
again,
party
I have very
tonight.
lovely, sweet parents.
I understand
yeah,
way they
yeah,
did that.
yeah,
I understand.
yeah. I didn't really. I wasn't mad, but I was just like, but truly, I mean, I might have been the only person that left where I grew up.
No.
For that I
Wow.
graduated.
Well, I believe it though.
I think I graduated with like 85 people.
Yeah.
And I really think I might have been at that time. Now, other people obviously eventually left for different reasons, but like going to school, I think I was the only one, and especially of my close friend circle. And we
Yeah.
were all super tight. And my house was kind of the hang house.
Yeah.
And it was a rough day for KP.
Oh. Sorry. What did you want to study? What were you looking at?
Ready?
Music? Yeah. I can't wait for this.
Teacher.
What? Come on.
I mean, that's kind of, especially from a small town.
Exactly.
It's a default.
It kind of is.
Everybody's a teacher back there for some reason.
Yeah, he's not wrong. I mean, like we had, like that, my high school, we had a little bit of direction, but it wasn't like, what my kids experience here and like their guidance on options and where to go. Like that wasn't really a thing at the school I went to at the time. So you were kind of just like on your own to kind of figure it out. So I came here and went education major. But I knew I wanted to do older kids.
Yeah.
So I majored in education and I was going to do history and communications because we did have a great communications teacher, like debate at our high school. Mm-hmm. And she had really pushed me and several of my friends big time out of our comfort zone to do speech and debate and those kind of things. And we were very invested in that, mainly because she made us be. But, all those things you look back on and go, oh, okay. But so she did that. So it's like, wow, I do enjoy those classes. I'll do that. And about, I guess, my third year into college, when I really had to start doing the education classes, like on hand, number one class, the first one I did that I had to go into a classroom, I was like, oh, no,
it's a shock.
This is not for me.
So you went into a different school, like a high school. Mm-hmm. Which high school was it? Do you remember?
Well, I went to the university, so they may have. I think it may have just been at the
Lipscomb High School.
Lipscomb. Yeah. Truthfully, I don't exactly remember that part. I just remember panicking, going, "Oh my gosh, I've just spent 2 years of college and money, and I don't think this is for me. Now what do I do? And how do I manage this? And how do I tell my parents?"
Yeah, right.
But what I did was I just took the communications because I already had a lot of hours in that, and then just made that my major and dropped all the education stuff.
Okay.
So I majored in communications. I graduated with a communications degree.
So how'd you find your way into an internship at Arista Records?
Yeah.
Tell
us about that.
Going into my senior year. Well, during the summers, I would go back to West Virginia to get a job to save up money. Mm-hmm. And I would usually work for like something with the city or something like that. And one year I had done that. And someone I had met in the same building that I was working in that summer, he ran a festival in Charleston. It was called the Stern Wheel Regatta. Mm-hmm. It was a big deal where I grew up in. It was like it may have been 2 weeks, but it was a music festival on our levee.
It's a regatta. Is it a boat race too?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Nice. But it was a big deal. Like you went to it, and we had legit acts, and
Mm-hmm.
So this friend of mine that the guy I became friends with, he was in charge of it. He was running it. And when I was leaving for the summer to come back to Nashville for my senior year, he's like, "Oh, you're coming back for it, aren't you?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Because, honestly, like just running back and forth.
That's a hell of a drive.
It's a drive. And, I didn't always have extra money to do that. And I was like, I'm not sure. But I ended up going back home that weekend. And I was backstage because my dad also did some stuff with the city. And so he got to be backstage for the shows.
Yeah.
And he loved all that. He loved people. He loved like helping people. And that was just kind of his thing. And we were backstage and I ran into the friend who ran the thing. And while we were standing there, he goes, somebody pulls him away. Somebody comes up and says, "Hey, he was the radio DJ guy in Charleston." And he was like, "I'd like you to meet Denise Nichols. She works for Arista Records." And on the bill that night, there were 3 Arista acts. Of course, I didn't know that going into it, but later found out that 3 artists were playing. That's why she was there. Mm-hmm. And while we were talking, I wasn't really saying much because I'm like, I don't know, 20. I don't know. I'm just standing there like, do. Yeah. And he gets pulled away. And while she was standing there, the 2 of us are just left. And I'm like, I'm like, "I live in Nashville." That's all I knew to say.
Yeah.
And I said, "I have a friend who does something in music." And she goes, "Oh, really?" She was just being sweet. And she's like, "What's he do?" And I'm like, "I really don't know." And she's like, "Oh, what's his name?" And I go, "Stevie Ray." And she stops and she goes, "Steve Williams?" And I go, yeah. And she goes, he works with me.
Wow.
So he was doing, actually at that time, because Arista was pretty small then.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, he was actually in radio promotions with her.
Gotcha. Wow, what a small world.
It was seriously that random.
It's random occurrence. That's music business, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
really
you can
is.
go. When we would go travel all over the place, we would meet somebody in
Right.
Podunk Town, and they would know somebody that we knew here.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's
It's
weird.
just it's big, weird, not incestuous family, but
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, he had gone to Lipscomb, actually. So he was a few years ahead of me, but I knew him. We kind of had mutual friends, and he dropped out because he got a job at Arista. So he
Oh.
dropped out of school at that time and went to work for them. I keep pointing because it's like,
Yeah.
nobody
that
else
way.
can see that. But
I'd talk with your hands. It's fine. It's fine. We'll
just right over there.
do that audio description later.
Thank you. So it was just, that's how random it was. And she just was like, oh, well, yeah, at the end of it, she's like, if you ever want to do an internship, let me know. But I still didn't really know what that meant. But I was trying to get an internship with the radio station. I mean, I'm sorry, I was supposed to go in with the TV station.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
trying to get my Channel 4 TV
Oh wow!
Yeah.
because truthfully, I needed to be Katie Couric.
Did you want to be on
Oh.
TV? You wanted to be an anchor.
I did.
I think you would be good at it.
Yeah.
did.
I think you have that look.
I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
You have
Move
that-
over, Katie.
New outfit
Come on.
every day.
Carrie's coming to town.
You know, I mean, Hoda's leaving right now. You could probably jump up there and
Right.
get
Who do
right
I
in
know?
with some
Who do you
Savannah. I don't know anybody on that.
I'm sure Luke's got some connections in the
Yeah.
whole media world. You know,
Yeah.
he could probably throw your name out there for you.
To
I'm
Kerri
gonna let you
Edwards
ask.
today.
Come back to me.
I like it. I like it. So
So yeah, that's seriously how it started. And
you just jumped headfirst in, had no idea what you were doing.
I left her a voicemail because yes, I'm about to date myself, but we all didn't have cell phones running around with us then.
You didn't have her email and you couldn't
I
text
don't
her.
think there was email at that time.
I mean,
I mean,
I know it sounds great. Like for you, I'm sure that sounds insane, but
for us,
it was
Well, I mean,
kind of like just.
I'm a
it was kinda
hybrid.
just starting.
I
all
don't.
that.
I didn't get an email address until I moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
It was like a Hotmail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
address.
I mean, I'm a hybrid. I grew up without technology, but then when I was like in middle school, kind of beginning of high school, that's when everything really started taking off in the personal computer world and cell
Yeah,
phones
yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, you're going to live longer than me. That's cool. Bragger.
That's
That's fine.
Yeah.
So
I'm happy with it.
Yep.
you left her voicemail.
Didn't hear back for several weeks.
Really?
Yeah, because and then I was like, oh man, I guess she was just being nice.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I was actually okay with, but one day I was walking into my apartment and my phone was ringing as I was unlocking the
Wow.
door, and I got in time and picked it up, and it was her. And just like now, radio promotion people travel.
Yep.
And she said, I'm so sorry. I've been traveling a ton. I'm sorry. I'm just getting back to you. But if you still want to try to do an internship, this is who you need to come down and talk to.
Wow. That's awesome.
No.
Coincidence. How long were you at Arista interning?
Well, I kept like re-signing up until the point they were like, we can't keep letting you come here.
Wow.
Was that from
Like every semester, I'd be like, so, and
was it
yeah.
performance based or they just they wanted you out too? It's mom and dad basically.
yeah, they were like, yes, probably.
Yeah.
I think I did a year and a half maybe there.
Wow.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But I try to think back. I mean, there was probably like 10 employees or maybe, there was probably 12 or 15, but no more than that. It was pretty small.
Where was the Arista building at that time?
So I'm trying to think who's in it now, but it was right near the BMI building.
Okay.
On Music Circle.
Yeah.
South. I don't know
Hence
who's
you
in
keep
it now.
pointing that way.
But
Yeah.
RCA was in that building and they were on the one floor.
Mm-hmm.
And BNA, that group. And then Arista, who was also part of the BMG family, because that all was under BMG at that time.
Right.
They were on like the floor below RCA and they had half the floor. So they were so small, they didn't even get the whole floor.
Wow.
And like, I think back because, I mean, now people share offices like it's common. Like you do it and you have your desk, you're standing, you're sitting, you know.
Yeah.
But now, at that point, they did it because they didn't have room for everybody.
Yeah.
But I was the intern and I did just I mailed out things every day to radio.
Yeah.
And at the time, everybody got a gadget. Like every song had a gadget attached to it of some sort, a promo item of something.
Oh, gotcha. Was it tapes?
No,
or
but
was it-
like I'm trying to think of an example. Okay, one of my favorite examples was Radney Foster. Who
I
was on it.
love Radney.
Love Radney.
Me too. He had a song coming out called Hammer and Nails. So the gadget that they were sending radio was like a foam-looking hammer with the title on it and his name.
Of course it was.
And then I was the one mailing those in the envelopes. And do y'all know Mike Sistad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was working in the mailroom.
Yeah.
So he and I would sit in the hallway.
Wow.
So Mike Sistad, for those, he now is one of the top people at ASCAP here in Nashville.
Yeah.
So yeah, he and I would sit and do mailers to
Stuff
radio.
hammers in envelopes.
I mean,
Send
Do you
them across
remember
the
Queen
nation.
of Denial?
I
This
do.
is my other
Pam
favorite.
Tillis.
Pam
Yeah.
Tillis. So I was
I
in
remember the
charge
video.
of.
yeah.
Okay, you ready for this term?
Yeah.
Oh, Colt.
Boy.
Come on. Bring it on, Kerri.
I had to fax.
Facts.
Oh, hey, I grew up with faxes.
Okay. So
Funny
I had
enough,
to-
I heard someone faxing something today, and I was like, "Who the hell was faxing something?"
Really
It was Joe Leathers, by the way.
Joe's faxing.
Yeah.
interesting.
Who the hell is he faxing?
He's trying to buy a new house, so he had to fax some. There's still people out there requiring faxes.
Well, I mean, car
I guess I
dealerships
hear
still.
scan. Like, can you scan this over and
Yeah.
email, but not as much fax?
I
This
mean,
was a legit fax. It had the
You heard the-
dial-up
you
tone.
heard it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing I've heard
Yeah.
in a while.
Yeah.
Who still uses that?
Whoever-
And why are you buying or trying to?
Whoever Joe's doing business with.
Yeah, why are you buying
Clearly.
a house from them?
Yeah, I don't think I would trust that company.
Yeah,
Please
no.
send us a fax. No, thank you.
Golly gee willikers. Wow. So you were faxing.
Faxing, stamping out things.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Just throwing
And
stuff
you know
out.
what? I actually loved every minute of it.
I kind of miss the gag stuff they used to do with.
loved
I don't know.
every
Do
minute
they
of
still
it.
do it?
No.
Do they still
No.
do gag
No.
stuff with people? Or is
No.
it just
very rarely.
no?
Occasionally some people do, just for fun, I think, but not. I mean, at that point, if your song was coming out, like the label had spent 4 weeks around a table trying to figure out what that was going to be
Yeah.
attached to
Yeah.
it.
Where did you go after your internship at Arista ran its course finally?
Well, my good friend Tim Dubois and Mike
Tim Dubois.
Duggan found me a little home there at Arista.
Nice.
So I transitioned into A&R.
Wow,
And
I didn't know
was
this.
A&R assistant.
How about that?
And
Who are you? Who's the A&R person at the
Who are
time?
you artist and repertoire in there?
artist wise, or you mean?
Well, who was the A&R rep you
executives?
were assistant to? And
Yeah.
then-
The first person I worked for was a man named Joe Tassi.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how long he had been there, but he was there a minute, but I don't remember how long. He transitioned out while I was there. And then Steve Williams, full circle, that name.
Wow,
He moved from radio promotions into A&R.
How about
Stevie
that?
Ray.
Stevie Ray.
Stevie Ray.
That's cool.
Then our offices were side by side.
Coming back
Nice.
full circle
Yeah.
again.
Then our friend Mike Sistad transitioned into A&R as well. So it was Mike Sistad, Steve Williams, and Jim Shearer.
Yeah.
So Jim Shearer used to work at Sony Tree. And after Joe Tassi left, they brought Jim in to run A&R at Arista.
That's awesome.
Good night.
So I technically worked longer for Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that? Did you like A&R assisting?
I mean, A&R was so amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it so much.
Especially back then, I'm sure it was way different than how it's done now.
I mean, the whole '90s country scene was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's just everybody was running and gunning. It was so fresh. And
Was that what got you
I
into publishing?
actually messed up just now because
Uh-oh.
Terry Wakefield was in A&R. Do y'all know Terry Wakefield?
Yes.
The amazing publisher, Terry Wakefield.
Yeah.
He was actually in A&R first before
Okay.
some of those others transitioned. He was there very first with Joe.
I don't think I knew
No.
that
So Terry
about
Wakefield
Terry.
and Joe Tassi were my first.
Very
which
cool.
Terry and I end up being, and we still are to this day. He's one of my best friends.
yeah,
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I told him about the job in publishing.
Yeah.
And then he got the job, and then I was like, "Why did I tell him?" Because then he left me, and I was devastated.
When did you go over there? When did you go to publishing? When did you go to
I went to publishing when I was forced to. Nothing against
When you were
publishing, but I
forced?
was forced to go to publishing because RCA and Arista merged.
Oh, they were like,
And then
In RCA won.
And RCA won.
Yeah.
Mr. Galante won.
oh, that dude. I used to do boot camp with him.
He won.
Yeah, he was very, very competitive.
He liked to
Very
win.
competitive.
Very.
He
Yes.
is now one of my dear friends,
Is he?
mentors, but at the time terrified me and didn't speak on an elevator and
Yeah.
all those things.
He was that dude.
Yeah, I heard he was pretty terrifying to work with in the sense of if he asked you a question, he already knew the answer.
Yeah.
And if your answer wasn't the right answer, then he knew you're kind of
was-
full of
That's
shit.
I don't care for that at all.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I just didn't know him then, clearly, nor did he want to know me. Which I'm not offended by. I'm really not. But fast forward, he's someone I actually still, touch base with a few times a
well,
year.
good.
So, I mean,
Nice.
he's full of wisdom. Like,
Hey,
why?
he did a
why
lot of
not?
great things in his
He did a
time.
lot
Yeah, he
of
did.
great things, and he's
He shaped a
good
lot of
hu-
careers.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How, when did you go to Murrah Music? Was that the next phase or?
So before Murrah, I left when Arista merged. So there's a lot of other things that we can skip, but I did a lot of production work.
dancing?
We won't. That's not supposed to be
Okay.
talked about.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's the part you're not supposed to.
Yeah. Okay. I won't say anything.
Okay, thank you.
Got to pay them bills.
Shit.
Rent ain't
I've
free.
thought about it. DT OnlyFans.
I had a little.
Hey, you got really nice
little
looking feet.
part-time job that I didn't.
Well, you
keep
gotta tell us what
secret,
it is.
But I did some production work for a producer, so I would do that some in the evenings because
Yes.
I loved learning
Well,
about
that's
that.
just
And I
honing the
thought-
trade.
And so I would book studio guys. I did budgets for session work, and when I got off work, I would go straight to a studio and stay until they got finished tracking.
You
and-
just Jim Ed Normand it. I mean, it's like he didn't. You need to learn every facet of the business that you're going to be in.
was
I like it.
truly I really was that consumed.
Yeah. You're that
And-
personality.
And I mean, when I would sit in there and like watch this go down, I'm like, is this real life? Like, am
Yeah.
I watching this Black Hawk record being made? Yes, I am, and it's amazing.
Love
That's
Black
awesome.
Hawk.
Yeah.
Is Diamond Rio going to cut that?
That's awesome.
I wept. We played a cruise with them a few years back, and they were singing, and I just started crying.
Oh, they're
Just
amazing.
I was a big baby. Like, this is full circle for me.
I mean,
I mean, they're just as good live as they are recorded.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord.
you know,
Unreal.
they were fun. Like they were actually, on Arista. That's
Mm-hmm.
the reason I got to go to the studio for them, not from the producer side of things. But they were so. I loved how, and look, like most of them are still a part of the group, which is very uncommon, kind
Right.
of, for
Yep.
that many people. But they were very, even then, united on, like, from an A&R standpoint. Sometimes, like, it was tricky because they had made a rule. I don't think I'm misspeaking on this. So if you're listening out there and I'm wrong, Marty
It's
Rowe
fine.
or
They're
Jimmy
big.
O,
They're big
I got
supporters of the
Marty.
Twangtown
I got
podcast.
Marty.
I'm sure they're listening. Yes.
they all had to agree on a song before they cut it. Like every member.
As a band should.
Hey, great rule.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, 4 of them could be like yes and 1 no, and they didn't.
I
do it.
don't know if Lone Star had the same. Anyway.
Wow.
There's
Anyway.
Yeah.
Golly. Did you say John Rich?
so
So we're back.
So going back to publishing, my first publishing was opening a company called Destin Songs for Desmond Child.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Holy shit, Desmond Child. Huge.
What was that like?
He and I had become friends when I was doing the production stuff. He was always at EMI. When he was in Nashville, he didn't live here, but at the time when he would come in to write and stuff, he based out of there with Celia Frolig and Mark Bright.
Yes.
Mark Bright.
Not to confuse
Not
him
Wright.
with Wright, but
Yeah.
Bright. So he had come there and write with them. I mean, come in there to write, and we became friends because the producer I worked for was Mark Bright.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is just it's a cornucopia of names that I haven't heard in a while
Yeah.
and new. very well back in the day. Sistad, I haven't heard that name in a minute. And
Sistad's the best.
He's a good dude. I like Mike.
anyway, Desmond Child.
Yes.
You started a company for him.
He wanted to have a publishing company in Nashville. And so they decided to open one. And it was him, and he had 2 other business partners. And I was hired to run that. You know, looking back, probably bit off a lot. But
Yeah.
just because I hadn't done
trial
the publishing.
by fire.
I mean, not necessarily from like relationship standpoint or not knowing, you know, but there's a lot of pieces of it that I hadn't done.
Sure.
So I got in there and had to survive. And
You just
figure
go
it
trial
out.
by fire, don't
And
you?
I kind of, it
Yeah.
seems that
Yeah.
way, actually.
Feet first. Let's figure it out later.
Yeah, we'll
I
keep,
dig it.
as the story goes, you will see that as consistent.
Yeah.
I remember
There's a theme.
one instance. It was like, I was like, where she's doing what? Okay,
You're like, didn't see that one coming.
didn't see that. There's a whole bunch of that I didn't see coming.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
how long did you do that little?
I think they didn't keep it open crazy long time. I want to say maybe 2 to 3 years, 3 years maybe that I did that.
Oh,
But it was really fun. Like
Yeah.
we redid an office at the top of 17th, and a girl that had an intern for me at Arista, Becca Calloway. She came over and worked with me there, and we did it together. And now Becca's doing like amazing things in the pop world, and
Awesome.
doing like she's just crushing it out there in LA. She
Yeah.
left us Nashville people and went to LA. But yeah, she and I did that for 2 or 3 years, and then one day I got a call from another. See, Chris Oglesby made fun of me yesterday because I still say plugger.
I still say it all the time.
is that not a thing?
He told me it wasn't.
What is it called? What's
What does
the
he
politically
say?
correct
He
term
goes,
now?
you know, that's not a term anymore. I was
Song
like, it will
slinger?
always be a term to me.
Yeah,
It's like fanfare.
song plugger.
I was like, okay, A&R, creative director. What are we doing? What are we doing now?
Oh,
Song plugger. Come
song
on.
plugger.
Okay, well,
That's-
thank you, because he really. It was literally last night that he
A
said
tune
this to me.
toter. I don't know.
He's like, you know, that term is not used. I'm like, it will be used from me.
Is it like derogatory now, like track guy?
I don't know.
You have to be
We
a
didn't go
producer,
deep
writer?
into it. He just started laughing at me.
That's funny.
I didn't know. I'm so nervous about talking to anybody about anything anymore.
Times are a changing.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I have got myself in a lot of trouble.
Whoops.
Sorry. Oh, so Desmond was a good one to learn from, I'm sure.
Yes,
He's a very
yes.
talented person.
Yeah. So speaking of Desmond, for those who like these kind of things, if you like to read or if you like the audiobooks, he did put one out this year, and I'm actually in the middle of it right now, and I cannot stop listening to
Really?
it. It's
What
so
is it
good.
called? Yeah.
Living on a Prayer, I think.
Real.
I'm going
Bon
to double
Jovi.
check.
Makes
check
sense.
it.
Yeah.
Makes total
Checks
sense.
out. Yeah.
I'll double check that when my phone stops ringing and
It's
I can look at my screen. But
Do you need to take a
it's
call?
my daughter, but I'll.
Oh,
She can wait.
Kids can wait. They're expensive.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. Don't even like kids anymore. It's fine.
Those college ones don't get any cheaper.
Man, I tell you what, they're great to have around.
They are.
really
They are fun.
I love kids. Love
They
my
are fun.
kids.
Yeah.
I don't like other people's kids.
You don't
I
like my
do.
kids?
No, not really.
I do.
What do you have against my kids, man?
Well, they're young and they smell.
Yeah.
No, kids
Have
are
that snot thing going on.
That
they're all
stage.
dirty hands.
that stage.
Yeah.
They get the hoof and mouth disease. So many things. They're loud. Not just your kids. I'm sorry.
Back.
Back to
Reel it in.
I don't even know what we were saying.
to get to Murrah. You went
Yeah.
through
I was
Desmond.
plugging Desmond's thing. Honestly,
Okay.
because as a music community, I do think it's interesting to hear his story.
Oh,
It's
sure.
cool.
Yeah.
So he's just brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant,
Yeah, you've seen a
brilliant
lot
mind.
of stuff.
He's
Yeah.
a brilliant mind. So I go from Desmond's company to Murrah Music in 2001.
And that's
And
where we met.
yes,
You met somebody.
Yeah.
he sits right there.
I'll sit right here.
His
Yeah.
name is David Tolliver.
Yes.
I remember I think I met you the day that I was writing with Luke. And I don't think we ever wrote anything of substance I think we talked for the majority of the time. I remember
We're talking about
Knowing-
the Luke
I was
Bryan.
gonna
Yeah.
say, knowing both of you, that sounds on brand
I
to talk
remember-
most of the time.
I remember
Yeah.
one session we had multiple ones, but one of them, he was just in a tizzy because he was trying his best to get approved for a mortgage for his house.
Yeah.
And I think that day he finally got it and he was very excited, but he was just, just going crazy. Now it's like, I don't think you really have to go through that anymore.
Yeah. I'm sure he's fine.
But how did you meet him? Was it?
Well, I end up getting one of the other pluggers there,
Song pluggers.
Paul Compton. He had been at Murrah a long time.
Yeah.
He had brought me in to meet Roger, and then they hired me. And honestly, I think Luke hadn't written there that long.
Yeah.
Like, he hadn't been in town. Like, he had just gotten in town that year, I think, and kind of met the right people and got a publishing deal, if I remember right. He said within the first, 2 or 3 months of living in Nashville.
Unreal.
Yeah, so he got super lucky on that part. But I met him my first day going in there. He was standing in the kitchen, still the same smile on his face that he has now.
Yeah, that stare.
Yeah, and that's where
Yeah,
he's not
there he
smiling.
is,
He's
right
just-
there over my shoulder.
He's just staring. Looks like he's doing his jockey commercial.
Yeah, we fast forward jockeys later. And
Yeah.
How long
after
did
that.
you guys work together there before?
Before I officially
Before
went into manage.
Well, I
manager
remember.
role.
I remember it was a minute, and one day I don't know if it was Ben Vaughn or somebody. I was like, "Yeah, Kerri's leaving to manage." Well, first Luke and I were writing one day, and I was like, "What are you going to do here? You just going to? I'm going to be an artist." And I'm like, "No, seriously, what are you going to do?" No, and I love Luke. I do. And I did not see it coming, and he'll tell you the same thing. Neither one of us had any idea what we were doing at the time. But he just, were you with him when he got a record deal?
Yes. So I had worked with him a couple years probably as publishing writer thing. But he was doing the art, he was going back to South Georgia and doing that bar circuit.
Yeah, he was killing
doing
colleges.
that,
He was just down there playing all the South.
And Michael Carter was his guitar player at the time. Well, it still is.
Yeah.
And so they were doing that on the weekends. And I had been working with them a year or two. And I was like, you know what? I probably should just go watch it. I just went kind of just to be supportive and have fun and called and I've told this before too, because I'm like, and we laugh about it, 'cause I just called, I don't know, the people that got in the car with me. It wasn't random because I knew them, but it wasn't like we had done trips before or whatever.
right.
But it was Scott Gunner and Daryl Franklin, Tammy Kidd. There was just a group of us that jumped in a car and drove to South Georgia. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is forever. We were in the car 8 hours or something before we got there. And he was doing a bar that night, and he did the show. But honestly, this is the truth. He got up and started singing and was just having a blast and doing a lot of covers, but he would do songs he had written too, and they knew every word.
Yeah.
And I just stood in the back of that club oh my gosh, this is really fun.
Yeah.
And what can I do with him? And I don't know. I could just see the guys were having fun. The girls were having fun. Everybody in the room was just, so I left there and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And when I got back to Nashville, I went up and spoke to Roger Murrah and just said, hey, at any point, would you be okay with me figuring out, how I can help Luke on the artist side? And he was like, sure, no problem. So then my little A&R bug kind of came back out and just really, truly went to work and called a lot of writer friends and kind of did the favor card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they said yes or didn't. Some said no. Some said, oh, I'll get, I can't right now or whatever. But then there was a group and it really tried to elevate some of the songs and stuff at that time and just polish that side of it. And then went into different A&R meetings and we weren't going at it hard at first. It was just I was just trying to make people aware of who he was at that time. And then one of the calls I had made was to Jeff Stevens. And some people know this, some don't, but Jeff and I are cousins.
I did not know that.
I don't think I knew that either.
Is
I didn't.
also from Alum Creek, West Virginia.
Are you shitting me?
Nope.
I had no idea.
Now it's a really small world.
Huh.
But truthfully, so he and my mom are first cousins, but truthfully, like, we really didn't ever talk that much about music. I mean, when we checked in with each other or whatever, it was usually like, how's your mom? What's this? The kind of thing. So for me to call him, I was actually super nervous about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he had massive hits.
Yeah. But this is your cousin.
I know,
Yeah.
but I was still nervous.
Yeah.
I just was like, but at the time he was transitioning publishing deals, and he kind of kept saying, well, yeah, I'll do it let me look at it. I'll do it at some point. And so several months had gone by and they hadn't written, which was fine. But I think I did follow up. That's like 4 or 5 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And he was signing maybe because he was at Warner Chapel for years, but I think maybe he was going back there, I think. And so he was just getting his deal in place. So he put a date on the books, and they wrote, I remember it was in July. And I also remember because I went into labor with my daughter.
Oh, boy.
And they were writing, and I was like, remember after I had my daughter thinking, wonder how it went.
No, come on.
That's how psycho I am about music. I don't know. I can't help it.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
But she was perfect.
She's
and
fine.
great.
She was fine.
She's fine. How's the song?
Yeah, yeah. Is this something we're going to cut? Do we need to put on hold? What's up?
So, but yeah, they actually did cut it.
Well, good.
Remember the song?
Yeah, what was the song?
The first one, I think the very first song was Baby's on the Way.
Oh.
Are you serious?
Well, that's just
Wow.
spitting.
But to fast
make
forward,
that up.
so
No.
Larry Willoughby,
Larry, the Capital.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
he heard a demo, one of the songs that Jeff and Luke had written, and at that point, I had started like a little more heavy pushing on the artist thing in town. And like we did a showcase, and every label came, I think, but one at the time. And it was great. It was at the stage. I was a nervous wreck because that was the first time I had ever been. All of a sudden, I'm like, I was used to being the A&R person.
Yeah.
That people were trying to get you to like them.
Yeah.
I was on the other side, so that was a big wake-up moment for me. But he did great, and the room was packed, and no one said no, but no one said yes.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, almost anybody I wanted in that room had gone.
Yeah.
And but they still weren't signing him.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, now what? So we kind of just kept digging at it. But the reason I bring that up is because Larry, when he heard the Jeff and Luke demos, he really did flip out over the sound. And Jeff hadn't really produced that
There was
much.
something special to it. There's the thing.
He had done one or two things with some people, but Jeff was an artist at one
Yeah.
point. Then he went into songwriting, and I don't think that was ever like a long-term goal of his.
Mm-hmm.
But, Larry said something to him like, you all need to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, Jeff kind of questioned it for a minute. Like, is this really a lane I want to go in? And then, within 24 hours, Jeff called back. And he's like, I'm an idiot. I don't know why I even question, doing it or not. He's like, I'll keep working with them. And but they hit it off like immediately on the first write. Like they became.
That's awesome.
I think I've heard Jeff just say, Luke was this big bundle of energy that was. David, do you remember like at Murrah, that house?
Oh, yeah, very well.
So I just remember I was on the ground floor. Some of the writer rooms were upstairs, and all I heard every single day was that boot going.
Yep. There was a little room. It was about, I don't know, it may have been half the size of this room.
Yeah.
And about that. And it was just me and Luke. And I remember the door was here, and he was there.
Yeah, that was that really small room. But he still does that.
Yeah.
If he's playing like that boot, that foot,
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
he's keeping time. That's his
That reminds
thing.
me of when Brian Davis used to write at Curb, and my office was in the old writer's house. He would just,
Yeah.
if Brian was writing in the writer's house, everybody knew. And I'm sure everybody didn't have the same tempo song because that's all you could hear.
Yeah. I don't do that. I don't.
You're a little more courteous than that.
I just don't like working out like that.
That too.
Yeah. I get my workout done and then I write.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Focus on that. Yeah.
To each their own.
So you decided one day you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna.
Well, so fast forward, they kept saying no, but then one day, so Mike Dungan eventually comes to watch Luke sing down by the Titans Stadium. What was that club that Irv had for a minute? That was like, you remember what I'm talking about? Like it was like pretty big.
By Titan Stadium?
Yes. And then it became.
Oh, if you said it, I would know it. I just can't think of it.
Limelight.
Limelight. Yes.
I think
That was
It's right out. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Turned into like a club.
I was going to say, before it did that,
Yeah.
Irv had it, and it was more. But there was like a BMI event
Oh,
or
it
something.
had a bull in there too, didn't it?
Yeah.
I broke my hand on that bull.
Yep, it had a bowl in there.
I swear to God, I did.
Mm-hmm.
I was
remember.
hammered, and I went there, me and Chad and somebody else, and I jumped up on that bull and gave the dude the shooter. And he did something with it. He was like, okay. And he did
I'll
something.
show this guy.
And flew me off, man. I broke my
show
hand.
this guy.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah. So Mike Dungan comes and watches Luke at.
Well, it was a BMI event. It wasn't necessarily a Luke showcase. It was a BMI night. And I didn't even know he knew. I had been trying to get him to come watch, and it just his schedule wasn't working out. And he shows up at this deal, and it was not the best situation. I already knew it wasn't a good situation when we got there earlier before they even opened the doors. I was like, man, this sound was weird. And but it was like different writers. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, you would know the names if I could remember who was in the room, but there was like 4 other people doing it. And then he goes and sings. Well, I turn around, Dungan's walking in. I'm like, no. Like, we've done all these events in town, and this is the one. You're going to come in. And so it wasn't a great night. But the next day, I had to follow up. I mean, you have to. I've been literally pitching, and I'm like, hey, just checking in.
What you doing?
What you think? And he's like, well, I didn't really see it. And I went,
Isn't that the most frustrating thing in the world?
well, I'm about to turn it.
Come on.
This was the nugget. And he says to me, I didn't see it. And I'm like, yeah, that was a weird showcase, but it really wasn't a loose showcase. I was like, yeah, that was a weird deal. And he was like, but I know how much you believe in it. And he goes, and I won't shut the door on you.
Wow. What a guy.
And I was like,
I mean,
I remember sitting at my desk at Murrah, and I was freaking out that he said that.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's just a testament to who you are.
Yeah.
And
He left the
everybody-
door open for you.
that's sweet.
I mean, that's about the only compliment I'm going to give you
Okay.
today. But
No.
no, knowing
I
you
will
for years,
hold on to that for dear life. Thank
you're a passionate, intelligent person, and I mean you're honest and you have integrity, and it comes across
That
to
was
people.
3 compliments.
Wow.
It's like 4, but who
Okay.
counts anyway?
Well, those were words. I mean, those were life-changing words for somebody to say. And so I was like, I remember saying, that's all I need. Thank you. Bye. And I hang up, and I was like, okay, do not give up.
Yeah.
Keep going. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of motivated us to keep doing what we were doing. I don't remember at the time if I told Luke that part of, like, that he didn't get it. I don't remember if I told all that, but we just kept doing our thing. And then one day Larry called Luke over to the office, and they just decided that they told him, they're like, you're not ready, but we do see something,
Yeah.
Okay.
and we are going to sign you.
Wow.
So he got his deal in 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember he got his right before we got ours.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, Church got his, and
Right. I think Church had gotten right before
he
that.
had gotten running around that time. I think, well, I think we actually signed end of 2006 or something like that. But yeah, I was so happy
I
for
think
him.
Luke was toward the fall of 2005, and then Jeff ended up doing the project. And
Was it developmental or was it like
they didn't really call it that,
Yeah.
but they weren't like crazy in a hurry to like.
they were like, we'll see how this
But you
works?
know what? He kept going back and doing that bar thing and just kept working that circuit. And it was like big crowds, like bar crowds. Like
Sure.
it was
Yeah.
legit happening. But, no social media at the time, none of that kind of thing. And
I think that was huge for him, honestly.
all that.
I mean, playing that circuit down there,
And
Oh, yeah.
it
getting the
just
college
helped him
kids. Yeah.
better at what he
And
was doing,
hone his
too.
craft.
Yeah, it helped him get better.
And basically what he is today, you know?
yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
still that guy.
He is 100%
the guy
still that
I
guy.
watched in that club, that college club, is still what he does now. Truly,
I do Lee's dove hunt every year. So
yes,
I was out there one year, and I was like, I had gotten this shotgun, and it was a 410. I didn't have shells, and Luke was there, and he goes, "Hey, I've got some shells over at my house." And I'm like, cool. So me and Hauser and Lee and Luke jump in Luke's vehicle and go over to his barn.
Yep.
Now, I wasn't ready for what I saw.
Uh-oh.
oh yeah,
It,
it's
dude, I say barn, the top of this barn, quotations, is a safe.
Mm.
It's basically a gun store. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Yeah.
It's got a vault door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually, it's not my world. I've learned a lot about it in the
Sure.
last past
Yeah.
X years,
Yeah.
but it actually is
unreal.
very impressive.
It's impressive, like racks and rack. I was like, I mean, I know you're doing well, but where did all these come from? He goes,
Yeah.
well, I did Cabela's,
gonna
and they
say.
would just give me gift cards,
It's
and I
true.
would just get guns with them.
It's true because we had a sponsorship with them for a long time, so we'd be on the road and we'd go in different cities. He's like, "Well, let's go check out theirs," and like,
But it's still the same guy. Still the same guy that pulled his trailer with his Suburban back in the day. Still
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
one.
he really is.
Here's some shells, dude. Here you go. I'm going to help you out. Let's go to the house. I'll get you taken care of. Same dude.
He
Just a nice.
truly is that guy.
Yeah.
So you get Luke his deal finally.
Yes, we make a record.
And you're brand new artist manager,
I'm
right?
still not officially manager then.
Oh, you're not?
No, I'm
So
still.
you're still just helping.
She's
You're,
flirting
you're the
with it.
best publisher
No,
in
I
town,
really wasn't meaning
right?
to be.
You're just dancing
No,
around
I was
it.
surviving
But I
publishing.
mean, like you got behind Luke and probably got him probably without you, he may not have had the deal, right?
Well, I don't
It's very
know,
possible to say that.
but
I mean,
was
we're talking
very
about alternate
passionate
timelines
She's a
about-
here.
very integral part of this whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, what would happen, but got him a producer, got him a
Yeah.
record deal, made
Yeah.
an album.
Yeah.
But at the end of that, right before they were putting out a single, I did part ways with Murrah and went back to Mark Bright, who also Kelly King was she was running his publishing company then, and she was leaving on maternity leave, so they asked me to come in and keep the catalog going while she was gone. I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
I'll go do that. I signed a few other independent, like Josh Osborne, Kat Gravitt, some other people. I was pitching their songs while still helping Luke. And I told him, I was like, hey, we got to get a manager. These are the people I think you should go meet. I set up the meetings. We went and did them. And he along that time, though, multiple times, he's like, well, I just don't understand why you don't do it. I'm like, because I'm not a manager.
Yeah.
And he was like, but why don't you just do it? I'm like,
Yeah.
because I'm not a manager. Because it really was a time now.
I get it.
And, I think I said this like at Music Row Breakfast or something not too long ago, but at the time, but like, there were truly, you will remember, there's like 10 managers in town. And if you weren't with one of them like that, then you didn't have like, now those 10 have 10 people that work for them that are also managers. And like, but that was truly not a thing.
Right.
And all I knew was to take him to, there was the list. The
Clarence
list.
Spalding.
It's Levitan,
Yeah.
Spalding, trying to think who else. At that time, Mike Robertson.
The Big and Rich, the dudes, the two brothers.
Yeah.
Good Lord. I'm so old. I cannot remember. But yes,
it
there
truly-
was a list.
There was a
Sure.
list.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It
some.
was a lot more condensed. back
and
then.
I knew most of them just from Arista days, or knew, maybe not tight, but I knew them enough to like make the call.
Sure.
Yeah. But like, and like Clarence.
Oswald.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Clarence, he was like, don't even tell me who it is. I'm not looking for anybody else. I was like,
course
so
he
we
was.
didn't even do that meeting.
Yeah.
But we did like a few meetings and, anyway, long story short, here we are.
Yeah. I remember you quit. You were like, I'm going to manage Luke.
But I was terrified.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was terrified.
Yeah. What was that like? 'Cause
I did call Mike Dungan
Yeah.
and ask for his permission.
Oh,
Oh wow.
wow. I'm sure he loved it. Did he like it? Did he give you permission?
Someday y'all can have him on and ask him his story. I don't know. I mean, no, he gave me his permission, but like, I'm like looking back, I'm like, was he like deep down? Was he going, oh my god?
Was it like your conversation about signing Luke? He's like, I don't love the idea, but I'm not going to close the door on you.
Exactly.
I mean, he obviously liked you because he was like, I'm not shutting the door. So I think
I know, but I mean, I'm sure inside he was probably like, oh no.
Yeah. Did you from the moment you did this, you were like, I'm all in. Did you have any moments of what have I done?
Well, I had moments of I didn't really regret it, honestly. But I did have moments that scared me because I knew I had never been
because it's another jump in with both feet moment.
A call with I never had to call a radio person. Yeah. I've never had to book a tour. I mean, we did club stuff, and I did help them do some of that stuff, but not a full blown tour for the year. And and. So there were definitely pieces I had to learn, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I just didn't want anybody at Capitol to ever go, oh my gosh, or for me to have to call somebody and they're like, who's this new? What's that artist's name? And wait, who is that? I mean, I had nothing.
And
you're trying to build your artist as well as your own career.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, wait, who are you? And again, it's a little more common now to have
Well, honestly, it was a very heavily man-based profession, career. A manager was the dude, and you came in and just.
Well, Mariam was in town already with Miranda at that point because occasionally I didn't know her super well, but once. Clint Hyam was always awesome to me about eating lunch or just being, giving any info if I ever had questions. He was always great. And I think one of them introduced me more to her, and she was always really great about that as well. So again, I try to pay that forward now, when I can, because I just remember how validating that helped you feel and give you a little confidence. But yeah, it was a little wacky.
Well, I think
it was a little wacky.
I think it worked out pretty well for you. Yeah. When was the moment you were like, this is going to be huge? Was there a moment? Do you remember a specific time, or was it just a gradual increase to it?
Well, I just remember his live thing was just so on another level. It was just I don't when I would do the show stuff, it was about it was never not fun. I was the other key thing. I never didn't have fun, but I didn't have a staff. I didn't have a staff. I had 2 babies. I was truly putting them to bed. I would, once everybody got to sleep, I truly would stay up. I'm not joking, until 2 a.m, booking, our whole band's hotel rooms and I mean, it was pretty wacky.
It's a lot. That is a full plate.
I flew home.
Yeah.
So we had a 2-week album release launch, and I took a red-eye home to walk my son into kindergarten.
Oh, Lord.
And went back to the airport after I walked him in and went back to the album release.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's amazing. That is.
But I wouldn't change. I mean, it's all so fun. I truly do love music and this community and writers and, to this day, luckily we were fortunate enough to have some publishing things happen. Sony gave us a joint venture deal years ago when Troy was there, and signed Cole Swindell and Michael Carter, and they worked their butts off and had amazing success in that world. But the reason I bring that up is that I've never stopped loving songs, and being able to do that. And being able to have that little, now that's kind of my side thing because the management thing is so full time. But nothing makes me more excited.
That's great.
No, it's great because, I mean, you've seen worked in so many different sides of the music industry, from obviously A&R to publishing, production, and obviously management. And so you got to really get it. Because I know I've met with managers who are like, yeah, publishing's fascinating because I don't know anything about it. And I'm like, there's a lot,
Well, and I still love the live. I mean, I go out. Not everybody does this, but as a manager, I mean, I'm at somebody's show every weekend. Yeah. But also because I think I love watching that part of it, and a lot of the artists have been great about letting me help be a part of the music process and making their music and albums, but also like most of them also let me help create the look of the show and or just give input. Maybe not. I'm not obviously behind the computer drawing up, the stage plot, but they're all. But I do love all that. That
it's
creative
like more
side
babies. They're just the whole thing is your babies. How did Cole come into? I knew Cole was Luke's.
Yeah, once you got Luke up and running.
Yeah,
you had
Well, Cole was like our very first for real merch guy on the road for Luke, and
a lot of people don't know that.
Cole would come to Luke's shows in Georgia.
Yeah,
he had another guy that they were doing some. I guess they were a duo basically in college, and he would come and watch Luke, and he was just enamored by the whole thing. And like one day he realized Luke had he's told the story, so I'm not telling anything, but Luke had written a few songs, and he was like. He said he remembered that clicking, like, oh my gosh, I never even thought about the fact you could write your own song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that all just clicked for him. And then when he came on the road, Luke called me one day and was like, hey, Cole. And I mean, honestly, in the minute, I was like, I didn't really understand. I was like, who? Like what? Because I'm still thinking of somebody in town or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's, Cole that comes, out to the shows. I was like, oh yeah, and he, but anyway, he was like, he really wants to move to Nashville. Do we have a job for him? And I was like, no. I mean, I'm pretty sure at that point I hadn't gotten paid anything.
Yeah,
so
right.
I was like, not really, I was like, and then I hung up, and an hour later, I was like, I called Luke back, and I'm like, well, you do need somebody to sell your T-shirts. He's like, perfect. He hangs up and calls Cole, and Cole
That's cool, though, that
drove up that day.
No shit.
He gave a fan a job.
That's amazing.
He drove up that day and got on the bus and went out. And so he was the merch guy for a while. But I say that because out there on the road is where he and then Michael Carter, Luke's guitar player, started just during the day. And when Cole, after he got all the shirts counted in and stuff, he have a window before the show started, and they would just start writing in the back lounge.
Such a good story. I love those stories.
But they did that for years until one day one of them finally let me hear something.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not bad. And then a little bit later, I heard another one. I was like, all right. And I remember going to Luke and saying, hey, I think they're figuring this out. And then that's when we went to Sony and they, at first, Troy was like, no, these don't work. Which he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
He's like, how many artists I've let them sign friends, and he's not wrong, but of course Luke and I weren't taking over an answer.
No.
And we kept bugging him, and Troy was finally like, fine, try it. And so he let us sign Michael and Cole, but awesome. They put in the work, and they crushed it. So
I remember the first time I met Cole, he was riding with Tammy Kidd, who was writing for us at the time, and Lynn Hutton, and
Tammy,
they wrote,
who went with me to see Luke.
Yeah, right.
It's full circle again.
They wrote a song called Water Tower Town, and Scotty McCreery cut it. And I think this was Cole's first cut as a songwriter, because he was just doing the songwriter thing at first. And we were sitting at the Tin Roof or something, and he's like, we're celebrating. I just got my first cut, and I think it's going to be the single. And which, unfortunately, I don't think the song did very well at radio, but that was kind of like the start of Cole's trajectory upward, and then eventually
it didn't do terrible, but
not terrible. It didn't go number one or anything. It's still a really fun song. We'll have to go back and listen. That was a good song. I think it did okay. I don't remember how far it went.
Just changing all kinds of lives.
That's right.
Look at you.
But hey,
of all the artists you've managed, which one gives you the hardest time?
In what way?
You tell me.
The most grief, like, oh Lord, not again.
No.
It's fine. You can say Luke.
Well,
it's totally.
Let's see.
Who's your biggest character? Who you got to be on your toes the most around?
100% Luke Bryan.
Yeah, that's not even a question.
That's not even a question.
Yeah.
I
don't know if there's. Is there?
We got some characters. I mean, between Luke and Cole and Dylan, and I don't know Langston that well, but I mean, you got or Chayce that well, but you got some characters.
Is more quiet.
Yeah.
Dylan's more of a homebody now. Yeah.
Well, I think out on the road he lets loose.
I'm trying to help.
But when he's at home, he likes to be dad and husband.
Dylan's so funny.
Wolfman.
He's hilarious.
You don't realize how funny Dylan is.
I wrote with him like back in the day. I don't know why my luck is like it is. I wrote with Luke back in the day. Dylan a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
Did
you ever write with Cole?
Me. Never wrote with Cole. I never did. I did, however,
Cole was one of my favorite writers. Honestly, like he's so good.
he's a good dude.
He's a great songwriter.
Hung out with him a few times, and he's a good dude.
Yeah,
he's
funny,
cool voice.
Yeah,
good looking fella.
I mean, like I truly looking back, I don't know that I saw that path.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's funny here, having our reflective old people moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you look back on things that really did, like, I'm like, oh, that's why that happened. Oh, that's that. And I've had a lot of those.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I ever really would have thought that I would be managing this many artists.
Yeah. A superstar.
But I mean, but they're all different.
Sure.
And I've tried to be careful about that. But man, when you get something in front of you like that you can't stop thinking about.
Yeah.
What do you look for when you're entertaining new artists to manage?
There's different things for me. I don't know. One, can they sing?
Talent.
Do they suck?
That's a good first step. Yes.
Height, weight, eye color, ear size,
sock size.
It's kind of probably depending on the timing of
Sure.
Again, fitting. I don't ever want anybody to feel like I'm signing something that's similar
right
inside what we're doing. So I really work on that, but I don't really have a formula. But I mean, like the Chayce Beckham thing, I saw him trying out for Idol. I'm behind the scenes just watching, but I could not stop watching him the whole season. And there was just something so intriguing, but we're not interacting with them. So I didn't really,
right.
I was like, I'm doing that from the monitor. I'm like,
right.
gosh, this guy, and he's so like mysterious but yet cool, and and then he ends up winning, and then his stepdad calls my office.
Wow,
that's truly how that happened.
Really,
I swear.
That's
and
amazing.
I thought, is this real? But I still thought, well, maybe they just need questions because I mean they don't know anybody in Nashville, you know.
Right.
So I was like, well, I'll call him back, and he wanted me to meet with him, and we met. And because I was so intrigued with him during the show, which that doesn't happen every season.
No. Sure.
I mean, I think there's great people, but there's just not people that you're like, I can't take my eyes off the screen, or whatever. And I truly was doing that whole season. And, I mean, I was even like calling Loba and like, hey, who are you looking, because they had just started in that deal where they were going to be the label to take whoever they wanted, however their deal works. But that season, I started talking to him. I'm like, there's this guy and this girl, like keep your eyes on him. And, for no reason, I was just doing it because got invested. But the Chayce thing, like we went to dinner once and I'm just like, I got to do this. But I wasn't looking to sign anybody new because Dylan had been the last person I'd signed. But Chayce is super different than any of the ones I have. And, and I tried to get Chayce to go meet other managers because he didn't know anybody in town. He'd never even co-written a song. Truly.
Oh, wow.
Not one when he got here. And, but he wouldn't go meet anybody else.
He's like, why don't you just do it, Kerri? Come on.
He wouldn't go meet anybody else, but I was like, you don't know. Like, this is like, you need to go meet somebody else.
Yeah.
He's
Network,
like, no,
son.
I'm good.
Wow.
I'll just let you manage me. It's fine.
And then
they really
deep
like
down,
you.
I really wanted to manage him, but I didn't ever want him to regret not knowing anybody else.
It's that high school relationship.
Yeah, that was there.
I want you to want me, but I don't want you to know that I want you.
Yeah. And we're only like, we're 3 years in, so that still might happen, but Chayce, it better not.
As she flips the hair. Yes.
It's great. You've got a great roster. You've got wonderful people.
I do. And they are just good people.
It's amazing
for real.
To just see the growth of everybody. I mean, I'm friends with a couple, and just to see, I remember standing in a concert one time with Luke. I think we were, I don't know why we were together, but he was basically headlining this thing, and he goes, man, you believe this shit? At the crowd. I'm like, no, not really. Not really, bro. I love you.
It's wild.
But I did not see it coming, but I'm just so proud. I'm proud of you.
Well, he's a worker.
Yeah, he is.
He's a worker.
So are you. And just watching both you guys just come up from the 2001, 2002 at Murrah Music to this day.
It's wild.
I think back to Cole, and I'm like, on the back of that bus,
right?
Would he have 14 number ones and selling
did he have 14 number ones?
He does now.
Oh
Isn't
my
that crazy?
God. It's bananas.
Amazing.
It is absolute bananas.
And then he has a couple that he didn't sing. So it's, I mean, the FGL thing, Thomas Rhett.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the Thomas Rhett song, give me some of that. I remember when he and Michael wrote that, and I think Rhett's on it too. But I was like freaking out. I truly, no joke, I was truly jumping up and down on the couch of the bus when I heard that song. Like physically jumping up and down.
You're like, this is an undeniable.
Like, this is
amazing. Wow.
Yeah, but you know what? It's been, I think fortunately, I have workers. Now I have a staff.
Right?
Yeah.
You're big
so
time.
rewarding.
Yeah.
Because I did that so long without anybody. And that went really on purpose. That was one, like, probably a lack of, a lot of it was a lack of having time to do it, truthfully. But
like I don't have time to hire people.
Yeah.
it was,
hard.
and then I was drowning. But I only had 2 artists. I had Luke and Kelly Bannon, and when I think I hired somebody to come in.
Yeah.
And then I went from like 3 employees to 6. I doubled it, and then I doubled it again. And then I was like, all right, this is much better having help.
Right?
It's nice being the boss.
There's a lot smarter people out there.
Yeah.
Than me.
It's nice having people do things for you and do them right. I mean, I don't know what that's like.
Speaking of Cole, I have to go. I have a meeting
It's fine.
in 3 minutes at Warner.
Can we have
really?
5 more minutes of your time?
Absolutely. Thank you for being here, by the way.
Thank you all for real.
And you have to.
Uh-oh.
We got a couple things for you before you leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Warner can wait.
Yeah. Real quick.
Okay.
You have to spin the wheel of shame.
Oh, boy. And what
Yeah.
happens?
It doesn't.
Well,
You
it's
just,
all in
you
code.
just do it.
It won't make
boy.
sense to you, but you have to spin
Yeah.
it.
We'll tell you. We'll
Just
tell you what it
meeting the new
is.
co-head of Warner.
It's okay.
You
It's
know.
Fine. It's fine.
We're gonna get you in the
tell
right
them it's your
headspace.
all's fault.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you tell them. I've been passed over by Warner before. It's
Cole
fine.
won't be panicked that I'm not there yet.
What did you get?
What?
What does it
What does
say?
it say?
Chubby bunny?
Oh, no.
That sounds nasty.
I feel like she's gonna have to come back and do something.
Okay, that's fair.
I think
don't have
that
I'm
time.
in the
you don't
building.
have time now.
I'm
You
in
don't
the
have
building often.
So
time for Chubby Bunny?
We're gonna come back and do this later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But here,
there's
I'll
a
just
take
give
two.
you. I'll give you a bonus spin.
Take 2.
Yeah.
Because the Chubby Bunny is going to take about 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's amazing though.
What'd you get?
Pinch.
Oh, pinche pendejo.
Can you do a shot of tequila before you go to your meeting?
Definitely.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Wow. And do we have her do the initiation thing? Okay.
Uh-oh, what's that?
Oh,
We have 60 seconds.
It'll help you with your meeting.
Well, this shot's also going to help me with the meeting.
I'm out of tequila. Would you like a whiskey?
Sure.
Wow. Oh, wow. There's this thing on Instagram, and it's this dude that calls, he's messing with people on Facebook Marketplace, and that's what he does the whole time. Oh, wow. Appreciate the honesty. And I've been watching these things, and I know it's
you're
all
in
made
the-
up, but it's in my head, and I can't get it out.
So you're saying
That's
that a
how
lot.
my brain works, Kerri.
I
It's
understand. But you know what?
ridiculous.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I have learned over these 20-something years
Yeah.
to appreciate that creative brain. It actually does make me happy. Creative brains.
It's annoying and
I just
makes
gave you a little
happy.
baby shot.
To me, that's
Did you
pretty
get out the other thing, too?
large, But yeah, because you took the small one.
You want this one?
It's all good.
All right. Well, you know what, Kerri? Here's
Yes.
cheers to you.
Thank y'all for having me. For real. It was fun.
A wonderful career, and you still got
Yes.
so many more amazing things to do. But here's to you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can't
Thank you for
stop.
coming in.
Cheers.
Are you sure you don't want the
Cheers.
smaller one?
No, we're good.
All right,
It
here we go.
is my first time to meet him ever. But okay.
Why does she smell like whiskey?
That's probably about to happen.
I think she has a drinking problem.
Blame it on
Yeah.
Cole.
Do you have gum?
I did, but I figured out it fell apart. Now, this last thing we have to do.
Yes.
This is our Twangtown initiation.
Yes.
So what I have here, oh, it's brand new too.
Oh, boy.
Bottle of Atomic Rhino smelling salts.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do,
I don't.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
don't panic, it's
Everyone's
fine.
done it.
we
Hold
all.
on. Sorry, kids, if you're watching.
No, it's fine. You're fine.
This is
I'm
actually going to
fine.
make you very alert for your
Yes.
meeting. So you're going
You'll
to
be
thank us
ready for
later.
this meeting.
You'll text me after the meeting like, thank you.
Do you have any more?
Thank you. I'll be right back
can I
over.
So I'm going to take the lid off, and you're going to hold it right here and just.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
Is this going to burn?
No, not at all. You'll be fine.
Ready?
A big.
Just-
I can already smell.
Come on.
Just do it.
Horrible.
Oh.
Am I breathing fire?
How do you feel?
Whiskey shot is the fire coming out.
Now it's a
Kerri,
party.
Thank you so much. We're so proud of you.
Yeah, you're cool.
You're the best.
If
You
you-
know they're cool as I'm melting into this
Promise
couch.
you'll come back and see us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yo,
And I love your Dylan Scott plaques on the wall.
thank you. And I have one Luke Bryan. We need more.
We do. Colt,
Yes.
tell them where they can find us.
We are available on all streaming platforms. You
Streaming.
can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Like.
Rate,
Right.
like, subscribe, comment, all the fun
Racist.
things.
Yeah.
This radio voice over here.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
See ya.
everybody.
Bye.